Hello viewers, good evening and welcome to the show. It's Practical Business Skills with Enterprise Uganda and partners. And today we have a very interesting lesson. As usual, of course, we are focused on bringing you tips on how you can make it in business and build resilience, more so in challenging times like the ones we are contending with today, you know, underlined by realities of COVID and more. Now, today in the studio, we have a very interesting topic, which is of course going to be digested and broken down by two distinguished gentlemen. First, I'll start with our usual coach. Charles, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much, and viewers, I'm always delighted to be on this Sunday show, and I can't wait to get going with what we have this afternoon.
Very good. Now, we have another very important guest. Again, we keep it practical. That's why we have him in the studio today. Joram, you can introduce yourself and greet the viewers.
Yes, good evening, viewers. This is Joram Atwamize. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep watching. We have a lot for you.
Very good. I'm Charles Bod, your host, and the topic for today is practical skills, lessons on how a teacher used his teenage passion to create a successful shoe manufacturing business. Joram is a teacher, and today I think there's never been a challenging time to the teaching profession like the one we are contending with today.
Very true, very true, and nobody expected it.
Yeah.
9 months of no salary, and yet you've got running costs.
Yeah.
And you're a person who produces people who are running the economy. Very, very tough time indeed.
That's quite deep. Apologies, we've lost a few minutes at the beginning, so we'll go directly to it. We had a very interesting topic last week, Charles. It brought in an aspect of risk, which many a time people discuss about and offer no solutions or think about no solutions about it.
Very true.
And we had the element of insurance. I think it was
Very
quite educative and revealing to the business people watching us.
Very true. And I want to say that that Sunday when we brought the Insurance Association's boss, Paul Kavuma, together with the headmistress of Guyas High School, the kind of lessons and the kind of inspiration that we got from that session is something that Ugandans could connect with very, very beautifully. And then you discover that this kind of a product is a product that needed to be given more publicity, more education for people to begin to appreciate and capture its essence. And I captured just a few salient points, and because of time, I'm just going to pick highlights of this subject of insurance according to how we had that time.
Yeah.
What we saw was that insurance is good for the development of an economy because insurable risks exist for every category of society, of business, micro, small, medium, and large, including farmers. Its limited uptake in Uganda means there is need for policy, regulation, and massive education of the public for us to start to appreciate the benefits of insurance. But specifically, last week, some of the following lessons that came out with this. One is that insurance is a necessity and can be handy when a situation you least expected manifests itself. In the story of Guyas High School, one of the most organized schools in the country, with good buildings, well maintained, with clear rules and systems for running affairs of students, teachers, and all people who are in the school premises. While it took 16 years for a building to catch fire and destroy all the contents therein, when it did happen at Guyas High School at night, it brought trauma everywhere. Students, parents, teachers, board of governors, and people were lost on what to do. 16 years, but when it did, amidst all the organization and care and order of a good school, when it came in, devastating. And the impact of that is you lose direction on how to run your year. You're a headmistress, you've got exams coming around the corner. And nobody will be saying, let's set a different exams for Guyas High School because they have been traumatized. Nobody's bothered.
The world moves on.
The world will continue, and how you reorganize yourself, that's up to you. So, insurance came in at that moment. And how did it come in? Lesson number 2 says, insurance firms pay up, and they do so with a human face. And that's a key point to note here. Sometimes people take insurance as if it's those fellows seated at the sideline just saying, I just hope things don't happen, and if they happen, I wish I could disappear. When that fire hit Gaius High School, at the level of managing director of NIC and his team, very early in the morning they were at Gaius High School. First, to associate with the sorrow and the pain of what had happened. And then two, to educate them on how to start the process of claiming for some resources to restore order in the school. That is different. That is completely something that you just say, oh, what a beautiful thing. Here is a dark cloud all over me, and somebody is saying, I'm here, you may not remember me, I am the managing director of NIC, I am Mr. Bayo.
And I like the numbers that Paul shared with us last week, because,
correct.
I mean, if you look at claims paid,
yes,
running in billions of shillings.
Correct.
Not just 1 billion, not just 10 billions.
Correct.
But over 100 billion paid in claims.
Correct.
That's quite something.
Massive. And he gave an example of the recent case at the Makerere Hill, where he said, with a 15 billion calamity, the actual insurance
cover
was about
18.
The premium, 18 million
18
shillings.
million, exactly.
0.0 something percent of
the value of that.
So you can imagine, even if you say, let's wait 100 years, it is still worth it. You will never accumulate in 100 years the 15 billion we're talking about, you know. Now, the other third point was that insurance, and actually that's what we just covered, is not that expensive compared to the value of loss that could actually get to hit you because of the unforeseen circumstances. We have just covered that point. But point number 4 was that insurance leaves no one out, but also calls for good faith on all shareholders. In other words, the boss of UIA, Paul, said that Uganda today has got agricultural insurance. Brilliant product for a country which is agro-based. But then you also put in a point that, you know, as we come in to give this kind of cover for our Ugandans, one of the things that needs to be cleaned up, and it's something that can be worked on, is fraud.
Is fraud, yes.
And again, he brought some interesting statistics. He said out of the premiums that are collected, 20% of that is hit by fraud. That's significant.
It is.
It's a very, very significant figure.
And uttermost good faith is very important in that transactions. I like the policy on that covers failure to germinate.
Yes.
That's quite something. It's deep.
But you can also see that as they come and work with you, they expect you to have a certain degree of professionalism. To be able to say you indeed want to plant something that will germinate. Your desire is to plant something that will germinate. And you have done all it takes to make sure that you have put all the conditions in place to achieve that kind of aspiration. But along the way, something could have happened. And what you took actually didn't work out. So in the process, insurers will come and say, sorry, they didn't germinate. And if they did germinate, they didn't give you the harvest that you expected. But again, professionalism comes in there and says, you know what would we have expected? Let us cover the gap so that your projections go as you did have them at the beginning of the season. He closed off by saying, UIA is a partner of this show, which is really something I want Ugandans to appreciate. We have brought Uganda Insurers Association to this show specifically because of the value insurance brings to the private sector and to individuals as well. And the Insurers Association has offered itself to educate Ugandans on the issues of the 36 players in the insurance sector, on the issues of the regulator, the insurance primary providers, the reinsurance firms, brokers and agents, bank assurance, something that's new in our own country here, the product range available, and the claims procedures. All those are the numerous areas that the Uganda Insurance Association will be tackling as we go along on this show. And I think Ugandans will be pleased to know that there are solutions that exist to cover some of the risks that they have been shouldering, and yet they shouldn't be shouldering them.
That's a powerful one, Charles, because I've met a number of business people, especially the small and medium enterprises, who will tell you Insurance is for the rich.
Yes.
They don't have the kind of products that meet, you know, the kind of service or
Yes.
operations where I sit.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that they are now going into micro elements.
Exactly.
So the component of micro insurance probably is one of the things we'll be able to unpack on this show
Yes.
for our viewers. Because, I mean, every businessman will tell you there are risks. How do you manage the risks?
Correct. And they sample, somebody said there's burglary,
Yeah,
there's fire.
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Joram, this is the time when we come to you. You're a businessman, and I'm sure my viewers can't wait to hear from you. Who are you? Who is Joram, and what do you do?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Joram. I'm the founder and one of the directors of Joram Shoes Company, actually the leading producer of quality leather shoes in Uganda. I hold a bachelor's degree in business administration,
Okay.
but prior to that I acquired a diploma in secondary education. I'm married. I have 2 kids, a boy and a girl.
Right.
Yeah, and here I am, and at the same time, I'm actually the aspiring MP, Ruhinda North
Oh.
constituency.
Okay, that's a good one.
I'm already nominated.
That's an interesting one. We'll get to hear about that and how you reconcile the business interest with political interest. It will be a good one. Well, viewers, you can be part of this discussion. As usual, we have a WhatsApp number. It's going to be flashed and running on your screens, where you can, you know, come in with a comment, with a question. And towards the end of the show, again, we'll pick some of your calls so that you're able to interact with our business coach and Joram here. He comes in with experience in shoemaking. So when do you make, first of all, did you practice teaching at a certain point before you went for?
Yes, I did practice the teaching profession because I graduated in 2004. From 2004 up to March 2007, I was teaching.
Okay.
But yeah, I was teaching Kiswahili.
Okay.
Kiswahili.
Yes.
Interesting.
I was teaching Kiswahili and CRE.
I see.
Yeah,
I
but
hear
the
you.
conditions were so tough.
So when do you make a decision? Of course, at some point you say, I want to go back to school and do business administration. Was it after you've begun your business operation in the shoe world or before that?
It was after I started the shoemaking business.
So when do you make a decision to get out and start the shoe business?
What
What were the push factors?
One, when I finished my diploma in secondary education and I started teaching, I was teaching at one of the secondary schools in Mitoma district.
Okay.
And my salary was 40,000 per month. But I would get this money for February. I would get it in August, still in installments. I was also teaching at another school, also in Mitoma district, where I was being paid 60,000. It was the same story. The situation was so hard for me. So not until 2007, in April, when I said, I need to get out of this, because prior to that, I was repairing children's shoes at school, right off from senior 2. Actually, that's where I started this business of shoes, because I was walking 25 kilometers barefooted every day, and I had no shoes. So luck befell me when I landed on a pair of shoes which was already torn and thrown and dumped in the banana plantation. Then I picked it up. I figured out how I could put it right. Then I put it right. I went, I bought thread, I bought the thread, I bought the needles, I bought the glue, I bought everything, and I was able to put a shoe. For the first time, I was able to put on a shoe. Now, it became my business at school.
Made by you?
Yes.
More or less.
Senior 3, senior 4, senior 5, senior 6. Even when I went for my diploma, it was my business for survival. So, but something happened when I finished my diploma. I felt like maybe I was a big person now, so I didn't need to really go back. But people at home still wanted me to repair their shoes.
Yes.
So
Viewers, the shoes you're seeing on screen are some of the products that Joram here makes. And yes, you can go on.
yeah, people would still come to me and I'm like, come on, you people, I no longer repair shoes.
You have
But
a
again,
diploma.
Yes, I have a diploma.
I'm a teacher.
educated. Yeah, I'm a teacher. One of a secondary school teacher. So, but of course, now things had to change.
And I imagine you are assuring them in English.
Yeah, no. In my local language.
Okay.
So when I started earning 40,000, which was not there, that's when I realized that my diploma it was not taking me anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was not on payroll, and there was no chance for me to go on payroll. So that's when I had to say, look, I need to get out. And it so happened that in 2007, I met someone here in Kampala who was also making shoes. Mr. Mwebembez, I respect him so much. I appreciated what he was doing. I was like, this is my line. So I went, I started on it. I got all the knowledge I needed from him. I started from there until today.
Very good. Hold it there. Charles, what do we pick from this quite humble beginning story?
Yeah. So you can see whenever people say, you know, I want to be this, I want to be that, sometimes a journey of an entrepreneur is shaped by circumstances.
Yeah.
Here is a person who was initially doing the shoe repairing for income, for survival, and wanted to cross away from it and abandon it and get what he thought was, in brackets, dignified opportunity. He gets the diploma.
Yeah.
He begins to wait for the checks. They come erratically, and the figure is 40,000. And then he begins to look back and say, but initially the shoes were giving me something a bit more.
Yeah.
I know the other side I didn't need English.
Yes.
But somehow the rewards were good. And most important also, you are solving real issues and real problems.
Yes.
And giving somebody opportunity to wear a shoe longer, because he was repairing at that time. So you could see that many times we box ourselves in a corner and start labeling ourselves a certain title. I am a professional economist. I am a professional pharmacist. I am a professional educator on Kiswahili. But the brain and the capability is open for anything.
Yes.
It's just you realigning your mindset, and you could easily discover a vocation, something you connect with, something you go in there and you begin to produce things that are truly, looking at these shoes, these are world class.
That's right.
I'm wearing an Italian shoe. There is no difference between the shoe I'm wearing with the shoe that Joram has made. The same, and I'm still saying, look at the stitching, look at the connection, look at the designing, and I'm wondering, why couldn't we begin to become proud of these kind of products and make them to come through for all of us?
Very good pointers there. Joram, so in terms of size of your operation, I'm sure some of my viewers would be interested in knowing, where are you today in terms of staffing, in terms of volume of, operation, the journey you've walked, where has it led you today?
And the product looks very attractive.
Yeah, thank you very much. Jola Shoes has come a long way because we started when I had only 2 workers, and now I'm proud to say that we have both the full-time, the part-timers, and the casual workers. They are over 30.
Over 30.
They are over 30, all who are earning from this.
Okay.
And in this, for me, as Jola Shoes, we decided that we shall not look for these educated people. There is a certain category of people who have been left behind. These are the school dropouts who have no employable skills whatsoever. And all they can do is just to be in the village, maybe brewing waraji, drinking waraji, doing casual work. They are earning. So those are our targets. I make sure that I get them, train them, and they are able to produce this.
I hear you.
Trust me, my boys I have trained. If you told them to write their names, some of them cannot.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So tell me, in terms of you honing and refining these skills of making shoes, because I know at the beginning you had this, probably, should we call it a natural talent? Because some people are talented, you know, and but at a certain point you need to refine.
Professionalize it.
You need to, exactly. So tell us, how do you go into that space, and how did it help you in, you know, fortifying what you had begun?
Yes, thank you very much. When I ventured into this, as a teacher, I had to do thorough research about shoemaking, leather, and other accessories. So what I did was, I didn't go into a school to learn how to make these shoes, but I used my brains. Actually, these designs you see, they are my own designs.
Okay.
You will go and look for that shoe anywhere, you will not find it. They are my own made designs, because I said I have to be different from what all others are doing. Yeah, this is my own making. You will not find it on the market except from me.
I hear you.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's very nice. So you added a bit of research to what you already knew, and then got here. You didn't have to go to a vocational institution or something of that sort.
No, I did not.
That's good. So what is your capacity today like? I mean, in terms of volumes, you know, and what kind of shoes do you produce, and for what segments of the market?
Mainly, actually, we do, Jola Shoes produces all these shoes, but mainly what has kept us in business are these school shoes.
Oh, okay.
The school shoes are the ones which we mainly produce, and I can tell you that on a daily basis, we produce between 60 pairs and 100 pairs.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is your niche there? I mean, what defines your niche in school-going shoes? What gap did you see that you came in to fill?
It so happened that most of the parents were going to the market to buy shoes. They would buy them expensively, and others, they would buy them, but they would not last a term.
Okay.
But I can proudly tell you that people who buy these shoes, they come back after 2 years, and they come appreciating and saying, oh my God, thank you for saving me not to buy shoes every time.
That's a good one.
And besides that,
yes,
being cheap, because they are cheap compared to others on the market.
they're affordable.
Yes,
I
they're
hear you.
affordable
I
by
hear you.
anyone.
I hear you. I'm not going to ask you for the secret, because I'm sure your competitors could be watching. But Charles, what do we pick from here?
I think one of the things that you can pick from here is courage. The spirit of saying, I'm going to produce something that is going to replace an existing solution. Takes a lot of courage for it to go there. And for you to also do that, you also need to have done, not courage out of blindness, just being courageous. You do your research and just say, yeah, I'm going to do the things. What is the current problem for shoes in general? Then later you discover there seems to be a niche in the area of school shoes. And I thought he must have also ridden on his own association with the school environment, where he noted that, you know, you're supposed to have football shoes separate from shoes for running, shoes for this. But when you get these youngsters wearing these shoes, these are the shoes used for running. These are the shoes used for kicking whatever they want to kick, including stones. These are the shoes they use for walking through water. So from there you discover the kind of a key success factor for a parent to buy your shoe, durability. So I think the good thing about the way he approached his thing is appreciation of your market and having that courage to say, let me go and do it.
I hear you.
If you don't have it, there are so many people who tell you, please don't try. Please don't try. There are already options in the market. Don't try. You can't do it.
Good one. You know, many people, a number of business people, especially those that already have jobs, office jobs, as we call them, would tell you that one of their limiting factors, or one of their biggest fears, you know, when they want to venture out, is capital. You know, it's a song we hear every day.
It is.
You know, I don't have enough money, I cannot go into this thing. First of all, you are going into an industry that is well established, with big players, with very sophisticated technology and that kind of thing. How did you reconcile all those positions, you know, with, I imagine, a very slim or narrow or shallow pocket?
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, if Jola Shoes was a human being, I think he would be counting where he has come from, the struggles he has gone through. I must tell our viewers that let capital never be a challenge, because I started with nothing actually, and we got where we are. All you need is not capital, but having the idea there, put down on paper. When you have that idea, translate it into a plan for it. Then when you have this business plan laid down on table, you'll be able to get the resources. To me, capital is not a problem. Take an example. When I started, it was capital intensive, but what I did was to look around the things that I need vis-a-vis those which I may need if I'm to be like those with sophisticated technology. I had to do away with technology because I realized we have most of our young children, our brothers and sisters, who can be trained to do what the technology can do, what the machine can do. I took advantage of that opportunity and trained them to do the work which the machine can do. I reduced on my expenditure there. Secondly, every time, whenever I would feel I don't have money, I had to utilize the opportunity. If you have come to buy from me, trust me that I will deliver to you. And then, in that process, give me a deposit. If I need 1 million to produce your shoes, give me 500,000 and pay the balance after delivery. Or if you can, pay 100%. And that one helped me. And of course, you cannot forget about the issue of integrity. When you promise something, do it. Some of the people enter into business and they are not really that faithful. Says give a deposit, then the person runs away with the money, which is not good. There, you know, you're chasing yourself out of business. And you deliver as you have promised.
That's a good one. I think it was a very strong building block there. But I'd like to know, because a number of business people, again, ask us, with Charles here, you know, it's sometimes, with good courage, easier to start. Now, growing, let's say from the 2 people you had or the 3 people you had, to 10, to 20, to 30.
And becoming visible to the competition.
Exactly.
It's a different ballgame.
It's another Achillean task altogether.
Yeah.
How did you manage that? What principles did you hold on to, of course, besides integrity, to actually see yourself sit where you sit today?
Because the kind of products now you are producing,
Yeah.
there is a long-established brand in this country that has been manufacturing this kind of shoes in Africa. And by the time you begin producing products like this, you definitely become visible to them.
Especially if you're doing 60 to 100 pairs a day.
Yes, that's significant.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to hold your ground and show us how would you do that really.
Yes, thank you very much. One of the principles that have helped us to reach where we are and to keep afloat, like I told you, is integrity. And I'm a Bible reader. Proverbs 2:21 says, the upright will dwell in the land. And those with integrity, they shall live on the land.
Okay.
So meaning that when you bring that one into the business perspective, there are many people who will come into the business but later they may lack integrity and run out. But me, I said I must be hold integrity as number one. Then secondly, believing in myself. Believing in myself that yes, I can. If others can, why not me? Actually, we are looking forward to being the leading brand in Africa. We are not only limited here, Uganda. Believing in myself that I can, because I always hold the belief that I cannot fail. The moment I give my heart to something, I cannot fail. Then, of course, you can't do away with being faithful to the business and to the customers. You know, Mr. Chichi has been, is my great mentor. In one of the trainings, he told me, you people, you are thieves to your own businesses. And I felt so small, you know, because I was using the business money for self-enrichment, not knowing that I was really bringing down the business. And I had to do away with that. I had to make sure that business money is business money. The only money I can get out is my salary. Short of which, business money is business money, has to be reinvested.
I hear you. Tell us about that training, because we'd like to hear more about that. Because, I mean, we're again looking at those principles that are helping you and that kind of support. There's that technical word which is normally used, BDS, business development support.
Yeah, that's correct.
Exactly. Yeah. But before that, viewers, again, you can be part of this discussion. We have a number running on screen, a WhatsApp number. We're going to be flashing it, so you can very quickly forward your comment or question. At the end, we'll again pick your calls, you know, for that voice interaction. Yes, please.
Actually, I have attended a lot of trainings with Enterprise Uganda. And every time a training is organized there, I never feel like I should miss it out, because every time I have something new to learn. At one time, I got to know that these are family businesses, and that family businesses have stood the test of time. And that's when I realized that, because my wife by then, she was working somewhere, I said, no, it's time you have to resign and come back and we carry on this business. And, you know, we're able to move forward. A lot of trainings, there is one training which I attended, where only 30 people. It was an intensive one for 1 week. It was an Impreteco training. It really opened my eyes. It actually opened my eyes on how I should handle the business. Also keeping the business records. Yeah, all those were some of the things that we're able to get from Enterprise Uganda. So I'm very proud of Enterprise Uganda.
Very good. Charles.
Yes.
Quick pointers there.
I think what is coming out of here, the viewers need to know, is that, one, he said the journey is a struggle. It hasn't been smooth. When you see him bringing good-looking shoes on the floor, he has paid a price to get where he is. And along the way, he has had issues to do with the limited capital.
Yeah.
But he brings something that always Ugandans miss out. The aspect of getting capital which has got no cost of interest, no cost of handling fees, no cost of assessment fees, and that's the capital of a deposit from the customer. The other aspect, I don't know whether he also gets it, is the capital from suppliers of your materials. That resource is so big in this country. And when you crack that, you've cracked one of the biggest limitations or cash flow constraints business people have in this country. You don't need to be doing production using working capital loan unless you're expanding beyond what you can contain. If you've been in the market for a while, your integrity, your trust should make people say, you know what, we love your shoes, we believe in you, here's the deposit. Get on with production of our shoes. The moment Ugandans begin to go there, one thing you've just done well is speed.
Yep.
Trust comes with speed, and that means you've gotten my cash faster. Two, you are going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
You are not paying 20%, 25% on the raw materials that you get using a working capital loan. So I think what Joram is doing here is such a brilliant kind of a thing that Ugandans need to embrace.
I love that, Charles, because I remember we had one of the entrepreneurs here who came and I think at some point they went to the bank.
Yes.
And, you know, the bank was making jump through hoops, you know, for support.
Yes.
But the mere fact that the supplier, rather the buyer of their product, was willing to guarantee them.
Exactly, that sorted out things.
Send the LPO and all that kind of thing.
Correct.
That was enough.
Correct.
In fact, Joram, on that note, how do you handle, because at a certain point you have that need to expand, and I'm sure you did expand at some point. Yeah. That's why you're able to absorb, you know, the kind of workforce you have and probably the kind of market share that you have. How did you handle those expansion intricacies, you know, from the funding side of things?
Yes, thank you very much. I could say I was maybe unlucky, maybe because I was coming from a very humble background.
Okay.
No one would be willing to give me even a loan. I have never gone to a bank for a loan, not even to a money lender. But one principle, the moment I connected with Enterprise Uganda, that I learned was that I should never be a thief to the business. And I made sure that every little penny I get out of the shoes is reinvested back. Because...
So you're thriving on frugality?
Yes. Because I had one fear. If I go to and get this loan and I fail to pay it, what will happen? So I have been fearing loans totally.
I hear you.
Throughout.
Moving on, you sit in an industry, because I've seen a number of people who sit where you are, whether making garments, especially items that can be imported, used. And I think yours is one of those, because we have a lot of used shoes coming into this market. You know, we're competing with the behemoth on the other side, the East. I think China is now the factory of the world. How are you able, you know, to, despite that noise in the marketplace, to be able to say, yeah, this is who we are, and we are doing good business?
Yes, thank you very much. Jola Shoes has competitors, but actually I would say those competitors, the local and the international ones who bring in shoes from abroad, they have helped us to reach where we have reached. Because when a competitor comes, he helps you to see far, plan far, and begin to do things differently. You have to improve quality. First of all, what I had to do was to, because I'm the quality controller myself, so no shoe goes before I verify it myself. Myself or my someone whom I have designated to do that. So competition is there, but it is not a threat.
It's not.
Because people have tested those products from other countries, the imported ones, the second-hand ones, and they still come back to Jola Shoes.
It gets back to integrity, you know?
And self-belief.
And self-belief.
You know, where you know that no matter who is in this space, they are human beings. Whatever they have done, I can also see and look at what they have done. And when I look at what they have done, this is doable. But then you must pay the price of saying, not a single piece lives without my stamp of approval that this shoe is going to serve a naughty child for 24 months without any problem.
That's a good one. On that note, you know, money in business is a very, very tricky topic. And I have Jackie here from Arua. He's just wondering, because he talked about, you know, the fact that you shouldn't be thieves to your business. You know, the topic you taught him so well.
Yes.
So she's wondering, how do I determine the amount of salary in my business to pay myself? That is her puzzle. Anchoring it on her issue. I think you can help in, Charles.
If
your promise was.
There is a statement that came from a great writer called Robert Kiyosaki. He put in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he said, if you've never learned to save and reinvest in your business, you have no space in the private sector.
Yeah.
In other words, organic growth is the hallmark of a person who has seen money, remained disciplined, and said, I will not carelessly lift money off from my business.
Yes.
So we pick that principle and we Africanize it in our training. We tell people that when you went to the market, you went with 1 million shillings. When you came back from the market, you are now having 1.2 million shillings. You've made a profit of 200,000. First and foremost, don't touch the 1 million. That was capital that you went at that point. In other words, the size you were as you were going to the market was at the level of 1 million.
Yes.
It has improved with another 200, but you need also to survive.
Yeah.
So now we tell them, it is on the 200,000 where you now have to pick something to reward yourself. Not all of it. And we tell them, if possible, not less than 50% of the 200,000 must go back to the enterprise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, as he said, I've been a thief to my business. What these people mean is, I got 1.2 million. First of all, the million should have been a capital I should have kept away. I touched it. Then on the 200,000, I consumed it all. By the time you come back and start saying, my business, I don't know what's wrong with it, it's going down. It's going down. Then you ask him, when you sold and got 1.2 million, did anybody come to your pocket and remove the money? That no. Did anybody threaten you and say, Mr. Chichi, if you do not buy a very good shirt right now, we are going to stop you from coming out of your house? Nobody did it. Mr. Chichi, if you do not go and eat a meal at such and such a place at this kind of a level, we will not consider you worth talking to again. Nobody does that. Everything is your personal decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's where the principle of being the thief to your own enterprise comes in. Now, coming to the issue of salary, you begin to look at a half of the profits you are making each time transactions are going on. If you do your record keeping, you'll discover that within 6 months, this is your kind of average income per month. From there, you can now begin giving yourself some reward, which is consistent with half of the profit you are regularly getting.
Yeah.
Once you now do that, you begin to give yourself a salary which is sustainable. And please, when you do that, never go beyond the salary. If you do, you borrow with documentation. But then, as you keep putting back the profit into the enterprise, what happens? The business volumes, the profits grow. And you find that the margins that you can share with yourself and others is also improving. So you can adjust the salary later.
And I think it's a very important one because, you know, when you have your books well kept and that kind of thing, because, there are people you can tell, please get something reasonable. And they have no anchor.
Correct.
Because they don't know what is reasonable, because they've never kept books and that kind of thing. It's in the mind and that kind of thing.
And the cash makes you look really powerful.
Yeah.
And you want actually to demonstrate to people who used to laugh at you. Oh, you're a teacher. Now show them that you have really
arrived.
Yeah. Show them.
That's a good one. Dear viewers, on that note, we're going to take a very short commercial break. But when we come back, Joram, I know, like we mentioned at the preamble of this discussion, a number of teachers out there are suffering. And not just teachers, but the number of people. Would like to pick your mind, and I want to target one of the questions I've received here. Someone asking, how do I juggle my 8 to 5? Viewers, welcome back. We're still on the show, Practical Business Tips. And it's brought to you by Enterprise Uganda and partners. And today we have a very special guest. We're keeping it practical on this show, on these engagements, because we want to give you counsel brought to you from the people that are actually practicing business. We know, Charles, like we always say, it's not motivational speaking.
No, the practical stuff, you go and apply immediately.
Exactly. So, Joram, before we went for the break, you know, someone was wondering, for starters, how do I juggle my 8 to 5 p.m. hustle, you know, an office job probably, and do business on the side? He wants to learn from you, but then also we want to bundle it with the kind of counsel you have for that industry, that sector that has been grossly affected by this COVID season of, I don't know whether teachers retire to call the others former colleagues, or someone was telling me that if you're a teacher, you retire and die a teacher.
Yes, thank you very much. Someone who asked how he can juggle the 5 p.m.
8 to 5.
Yeah,
That's
full-time
kind of job.
employee,
8-5.
teacher,
Yes,
teaching
that is
you
the full-time
Kiswahili.
employment.
Yeah.
One, it is an issue of planning.
Yeah.
You plan because we all were endowed by 24 hours of a day. So you plan for the 24 hours every day. If you're working from 8 to 5, then find out what you can do after 5. From 5 until the time you go to sleep. The time you go to bed until the time you wake up. What will you do between that time of waking up and going to work? Plan something you can do. There are many things that people have started. I have my friend, he runs a fleet of Rolex businesses around town. Plans for it in the morning, in the night. In the morning, they are on the road. In the evening, they are on the road. And in the evening, he's just doing the monitoring. So it's a matter of planning your time. And another thing, I must tell the viewers that this employment, I can call it slavery. Because you will not determine when you will retire. You will not determine when you will, how much you'll pay yourself. You'll not determine when you should work or when you shouldn't work. Think outside the box. And the moment you leave that job where you are so committed for the so many hours, the moment you leave it, they will advertise the same job the next day. They will forget about you. You will go home when you're empty-handed.
Very good. Charles, your thought, but as you think about that, again, Viola is asking, she would like to know your views on starting a business alone versus a business with other individuals. I must say we have quite a number of questions to answer. So we will try to, you know, to go through all of them. Viewers, try to bear with us on that.
I want to tell Viola that the issue of partnerships versus sole proprietorships have always been a challenge in this part of the globe. But we have a slogan or a statement that we normally use to introduce the power of partnerships. We say, if you want to go very fast, go alone. If you want to go very far, take someone with you. The message there is, it is tough to get a person whose mindset, whose vision, whose aspirations exactly mirror yours.
Attuned to you, yes.
And when you do not have that agreement of the vision, on how you are going to use the resources, the money, and the amount of time, how you are going to share the income, you have brought in a headache that will be very difficult to disentangle from.
I hear you.
So many times when you are taking off, if possible, just walk that journey. If you if you get somebody with whom you share aspirations, some of the mission, the vision, the resources, the commitments, move with that person. But we have had to put a complete training package to assist people to work as a partnership. It's hard enough for people who were brought into partnership by love in a marriage. Two people like this, and they had a common platform, which was love and admiration of each other. But you go and check over time, they are the fiercest against each other.
And I'm told COVID has really brought a lot of serious issues in that regard.
In that direction.
Yes.
Now, just imagine when it comes now to businesses, because you know what? The person who is your partner that you think you know so well, you are not with that person all the time. 8 hours is with you in the business. The other 16 hours is with other people. And the conversation taking place there is influencing the person that you see daily for only 8 hours.
I hear you.
That person you must be trying to discover every day. It's tough. As I said, it's tough enough to even be with this one whom you are with daily. And yet it still becomes a tough call to move together.
I hear you.
There are principles that must be embraced for it to work.
by all of you.
Yes.
Yes. I have Joram, I have Celestino from Salama. He's wondering how can he be an agent for those shoes? You really have people positioning.
That's a good point.
Yes. Thank you very much, Celestino. Actually, we are moving to a point where we shall not be dealing with our customers direct, but instead we shall be having franchises. So anyone who wants to become a franchise is welcome.
Okay.
It is okay.
I have Jessica here is wondering whether is your wife part of the workshops? Is your wife part of the business? How do you handle it as a family? In other words, it's trying to ask whether you have family involved in the business.
My wife is 100% involved in Jola Shoes operations, right from office work to monitoring the stores and the operations within the production department.
Okay.
She's fully involved. Yeah.
Okay. Charles, I have a gentleman here from Kasese. Is saying that right now he's into formal employment. Is Robert.
Yeah.
And he wants to go into commercial farming, especially food production. So he's wondering, is he making the right decision? You know what we talked about, you know, the idea of these people that have an 8 to 5 job.
That's correct.
Doing something on top
Correct.
of that.
What Robert is talking about is something every Ugandan should be talking about. And yes, Joram indeed touched a point of saying, plan your time. The moment you've got commitment and interest in something, you'll always get time for it. Once you have gotten time for it, do not just imagine that it's just only time to do something, time to learn it, time to master it, time to begin to give it your fullest attention so that you nurture it. Because a beginning thing has got that ruggedness, which doesn't reflect where you come from. In the office, you have got a properly arranged office, good title, everything is fine. But this thing that you are starting at the sidelines, it's rugged, it has got a lot of informalities, and those are some of the things people in a formal environment tend to struggle with. But you've got to discard titles as you get to this other side job. You are the one sometimes to load the pineapples that you've delivered to the market.
Sorry.
You are sometimes to be the one to pursue the collection of that money. You are the one to make corrections should some of the pineapples be rejected. So you do not have to come with your so-called neat office arrangement which says their responsibilities. That job is so-and-so, that one so-and-so. When you are starting with informalities, with image issues, be ready for them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have someone here from Kenya, and I must thank our Kenyan audience. We really love you and appreciate you. You know, Charles, we have quite a number of people from across watching this show.
True.
I have this one, it's called Keep Kowech Arab Kigen. It's from Botola, Busia in Kenya. And is saying, I'm impressed by Mwalim's shoe initiative. Please share if you have difficulties in getting raw materials. Which makes me wonder, how do you deal with inputs?
Wow.
I'll give you his number.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Thank you so much. Someone from Busia, close. We have challenges with raw materials. Actually, it is one of the biggest challenges because some of the raw materials that we use and accessories, they are substandard. Most of those which are on market, they are substandard because of these middlemen who deal in them from across. They just go and buy what they find without looking at what is quality and what can stand the test of time. Like the leather, like for these school shoes, it is supposed to be like 1.8 and above millimeters, but you find what you order for and what they bring you is like 1.2 or 1.3
millimeters.
Yes, which makes it a little bit substandard.
Yeah.
And you find you struggle. Then we have these other accessories like the buckles. You find the market is flooded with fake ones, which when you put it on a shoe, it cannot last for more than even a month. We have that challenge, but me, I'm very specific. I go and look for these things myself, wherever they are, so that I can avoid and mitigate all those risks that could come with poor raw materials.
Very good. Charles, I have something for you here as well, from a lady from Bali. This one is looking for counsel, again, on how to manage her business. She's into a clinic, and she says it is now 2 months old. Her biggest challenge, well, startup capital wasn't much, but she said she has to start anyway, because we always say, That shouldn't be.
The way you are, get
Exactly.
going.
And she says she gets clients who want free medication and want not free medication but to borrow or to, I don't know how to term that.
Take credit.
Take
on
credit.
Drugs on credit.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
medication and
Yeah.
pay after 2 months.
Yeah.
So she's wondering, because she needs those clients, how should he handle that situation? Because these are real life experiences.
I want to say this, that my long career in providing business development services to the private sector has informed me of 3 things that have defined the failures of most enterprises. Number 1 is actually selling on credit and failing to collect your monies on time. And that one is such a big issue because the drugs that lady stocks, she does not necessarily get them on credit.
Yes.
And if she does it with very sure repayment schedule. She should mirror what's happening to her in terms of what she does to her own customers. You cannot be paying cash basis for supplies of your drugs, or if you take on credit, you honor your obligations. And then when it comes to your own customers taking your items and they don't pay on time, you are soft.
Sorry, I'll cut you short a bit,
Yeah.
Charles. I have some callers online. Dear callers, hello. Please reduce the volume of your TV set. Hello.
Oh,
Yes, you're live on NTV. Please give us your question and name.
yeah,
Hello. Sorry, we seem to have a bad connection there. We'll pick another caller. Viewers, when you come through, please just reduce for starters the volume of your set and then give us your quick question. And then, name. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, please give us your name and question. You're live on NTV.
Yes, I'm calling from Najanakuma. I'm Dennis.
Yes, Dennis.
Dennis.
Please give us your question.
How can I in a farming business and I have a tax especially when
Okay.
I'm a teacher?
Okay. Thank you, Dennis. That question has been taken. We'll again pick another caller. Your question and name very fast. Hello. Sorry, we seem to have a bit of an issue on the line, but we'll get back to that. Charles.
Yeah.
Hello. You're live on NTV. Please give us your name and question.
And keep Choech, the one who wants to supply the materials.
Hello?
I promise to get in touch with him.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I think we've lost that caller. I will try to pick another. Yes, Charles.
There's a teacher who says he wants to go into piggery and is a teacher. I want to say one, go for something when you have a full-time job, go for something that you can get time for.
Yeah.
And do not mind what it is. It really doesn't matter where you start from. If you think you can go into piggery, ask yourself, will you have enough time to look after that pig? If you will be able to do that, start the way you are, wherever you are, and start gambling with those things. The limitations will always be in there. But even as I advise you to do that, you need to visit somebody within where you are, in Najanakum, wherever you are, who is looking after pigs. Somebody is feeding them. Somebody is treating them.
Sorry, Charles, let me pick this other
and
caller.
you need to pick up a leaf from there.
As you affirm that. Hello, please give us your name and question. You're live on NTV. Yes, please.
This is Steve from Africa.
Okay.
I would like to ask you about the capacity of the helicopter that business.
Sorry, we failed to get your question a bit clear. Can you ask again? Because your line seemed to have a bit of issues. Hello? Sorry, I think we seem to have a bit of a
We
challenge with
lost
the line.
that question. I don't know
Yes.
what you wanted to say.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
maybe if you
yeah.
can call back, we may try to pick you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charles, I have a very tough one from a student.
Yes.
You know, for this show, we said students have been home for a long time.
Very true.
And we're encouraging them to, do some kind of a vacation.
Correct.
So there's one here. He's saying, I'm a senior 6 vacist working a certain job. I'm investing my money in poultry, as in rearing hens.
Yes.
But I wanted to join university using the same money. in my portrait. Please, some advice. Am I doing the right thing, or I should first develop the hen business family and then join the university later?
The young man has got a very interesting question that is really cracking deeply. If he put all that money straight into paying school fees, he needs to answer the question which he says, will the business survive the school fees per semester? Because we kept saying, any business that will survive the test of time must have organic growth.
Yeah.
If one semester alone can wipe all the capital, there is no way you can have chicken again in the next semester. They will have gone away. So I would rather say you manage your aspirations and ask yourself a very, very practical question, which is, the university I'm going to, what's the cost per semester? The chicken business I'm having right now, what is the net profit, say, per semester or per every 4 months? If the net profit is a volume which is able to cover virtually all the semester expenses, plus something little remaining to continue growing the capital, continue with the business and then go and study at the university. Short of which, there is no harm losing a semester, losing 1 year, as you build the foundation of this business being built by baby hands of a student.
I hear you.
But he must be congratulated for taking such a courageous step of saying, Dad is not paying, community is not paying, I'm going to do it myself.
Thank you,
But
Charles.
he needs to just marry that with sustainability.
Thank you. I'll pick another caller. Dear caller, please give us your name and quick question.
My name is from Ghana, Victoria. I want to ask you, what can I need that
Oh, sorry. I think we can't get
The
that
line
question
is
quite clearly.
big
The line
issue.
is doing us in. But we'll see what to do about that.
Yeah.
But Joram, I have Nasobuga Justine. She's a mother. And she's wondering, because she liked your story, and she feels she would like to join the same kind of, business or do some business. So she's wondering, how can she juggle her mother roles and all these other obligations and then still do it in business? A bit related to the other
Yes.
8 to 5, but there's the mother aspect introduced now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. One advice I can give to Justine is that she needs to look for this kind of business which she can do right from her home, which will not antagonize her motherly roles. I wouldn't expect her maybe to go and look for a full-time job where she wants at the same time to take care of her children. So I think she can look for this business which she can be able to do at home at the same time when she's handling her children. Let her not fear to begin. Let her sit down, look at the different options and come with a best alternative, which will be the business that she can do.
Very good.
Of course, the one which is viable.
Very good.
Yeah.
Vicky here is asking, do you do special designs for people? Like if someone comes with their design, do you design for them? Custom made?
Yes, thank you very much. Vicky, if you come with your specific design, we make it for you. We are making a number of shoes for most people. The lame, the crippled, they don't have the same feet height. We make all of them.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I have Dr. Nicholas Alineitwe. He's from 3-Star Pharmacy in Mubende. He says he wants to start a business of selling shoes and would like to know how much capital does he need to start with. Maybe Charles, you can come in here as well.
I've always had people saying, I want to do this kind of a business. How much capital can I start with? And I've always told people that the first thing you need to recognize is that what does it take to package a solution until you get the first buyer? If you can answer that question, you have the capital you need. In other words, if you are going to make the first pair of shoe, shape it until it is acceptable to a buyer who is saying, I love this and I'm going to pay a price for it plus a profit margin for you. If you can do that, you have what it takes to get started.
Yeah.
You don't need to wait to have a capacity like now. Joram has got a capacity of 60 per day. You can have a capacity of 1 pair in 3 days, but start with that and start moving. Now that might mean having your leather designed by somebody, cut by somebody, stitched by another person, and then you come and finalize the last bits of it.
I hear you.
If you can get that kind of a thing started, you have had to use other people's facilities. You have had to use a lot of other in-between kind of bridging activities.
Yeah.
Get going with that approach. We normally hear that question when people are looking for an ideal situation. Location, technology, employees, advertising. What's the total budget? I have my business plan. It is here. It's ready like this. You go that route, you will take much longer to get going. And when you get going, you discover the document that took a lot of your time is not helping you. You should have started this game and start polishing things along the way. He did it. He did it. This man is a teacher. People would have laughed if he said, I'm going to make this kind of a shoe. You people, you see I'm going to make a shoe for Ame. They would just say, hey, Joker, what are you trying to say here? Go and teach Kiswahili. They would immediately pour water on him.
Nah.
But as he now kept on polishing and sharpening, today he has a space where people are saying, can I do franchise for you?
Powerful, indeed. Charles, I have Jessica from Zimbabwe here.
Yeah.
Again, Jessica and about 7 other people asking, can Charles give us his number for consultations on business? I wish he can help in advising us for free. I work somewhere, but starting a business in November, I have 5 million and still puzzled on which to start with.
5 million, Jasper, is a lot of money, and for sure you deserve to be assisted. But I'm also happy that for now you've not necessarily blown it up. We had a case of a young lady. Remember the story of the pharmacist we brought here, Grace? Grace had accumulated 2.5 million.
Yeah.
And she wanted to use it for buying a good pair of, a good sofa set for her sitting room and a screen. When she came for our training, Grace immediately used that one as her starting capital. Today she has got 3 branches of pharmacy, of her pharmacy. So equally, Jasper, I'm available to talk to you, to advise you, and to give you all that you may need at my level of counseling and advice. My telephone number is 0772 699 808. Get in touch.
Wow.
Enterprise Uganda is on plot number 38, Lumumba Avenue. We're here to serve you.
I have a viewer here who is almost roasting me. He's saying I cut you short when you're making a point.
Yeah.
About the 3 challenges of business that you've known. You had only talked about selling on credit and failing to collect your money. Please finish.
Okay, I will say this, and we teach this a lot when we are saying if you are great in an area, you are number 1, you seem to be respected everywhere. Just remember the 3 are all the time hovering around you. One of them is you will have a challenge with selling on credit, getting excited, thinking you have a lot of customers. If your collections are not good, your profit must go, your capital must go. Number 2 is unplanned diversification, even unplanned growth. It will spread you thin. It will make you subsidize businesses that are not making money. And in the process, your cash cow must go. But as these 2 are eating you up, the 3rd thing will come in, reckless borrowing. You are going to think, because bankers know you, and they actually do know you, but they know you when you're doing things neatly. And you have since departed from that neat way of doing things. You don't collect your dues on time. You go into businesses out of emotions. And the bankers are giving you money, which money has got fixed repayment schedule. And you can't escape them. Once the 3 come together, it's a recipe for your ending.
Thank you, Charles. Joram, I come back to you, and we are now coming to the end of this interface. We have
the boo-boo thing. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
An import substitution in this country.
Correct.
I want you to address yourself to that. Do you see yourself in the boo picture or the import substitution picture that the country is pursuing?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Boob is a good thing. but I think it hasn't been designed really to help us because still the imports are coming in and they are straining us. And even when it comes to the procurement, like for example, we have never seen, like maybe I went one time to police, I went to UPDF, I was like, hey, you guys, we can do this. But they started tossing me and there. You can't know what is happening. So we just choose to remain in the background and do our own things. But BUB is a good thing, and I encourage our viewers to really, the only way we can be able to develop our economy is by buying what we have locally produced ourselves. First of all, they are cheap compared to those imported ones. But I would encourage really the government to empower us in this BUB thing, so that at least in the procurement we get like 70% before they consider other things from abroad.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joram. Charles, your final points.
I'm so glad to be hosting this evening a person who is producing something that you can almost say this is world class. And the training he came for, that he called them practical training, is actually where we give world class entrepreneurship traits for a person in business in any sector. Now, connecting with what we're talking about here, when he said, please government, make BUB to work. For BUB to work, it's a value chain that must be attended to.
Yeah.
Give him support to access affordable technology. Give him opportunity to train his workers so that most of the workers he gets, to a great extent, somebody else now concentrates in sharpening them. Give him opportunity to have a value chain of suppliers of leather, and leather that if he says, I want, he said 8 millimeters or 1.8 millimeter?
1.8.
1.8 millimeter. It should exactly that. It should not have the burden of really reconfirming and checking and all those kind of things. Let this man concentrate on shaping and selling the shoes. It's tough to be in BUB, and yet to deliver a product needs a whole value chain of players. And all those players require concentrated attention, including the person who's slaughtering the animal to release the hide that will be turned to become a hide. He must cut that animal properly and release that hide in such a way that it's not damaged.
Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you very much, Joram, for your time. Viewers, investing in the value chain, that's what I take away. And I think this involves policymakers, government coming to the rescue of the different value chain players. Sometimes we look at the things, they materialize when they're in the marketplace. But this is where they're coming from. And in where they're coming from, you have different players with different interests and needs that need to be addressed. On that note, we'll come to the end of this week's interface. It's been Practical Skills on Enterprise Uganda with Enterprise Uganda and partners, and I'm sure you've picked some good takeaways. I've been your host, Charles Boji. I must say thank you to Charles and Joram. Have a good evening and God bless.